This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
Thanks for joining me once again for my talk with ChangeMaker Tony Kimbrough, the CEO of VEO, the Veterans Empowerment Organization, the largest nonprofit in Georgia providing direct services to military veterans in need. Tony, we've discussed the work that you're doing to help house our heroes, but we all know it takes a village. So who are some of your valued partners?
Yeah, so we've had a long relationship with United Way. So from a referral sources, we use United Way. We use Fort McPherson, their continuum of care program, the VA, other shelters within the area, Mary Hall Freedom House, Gateway, Atlanta Missions as our referral sources to get veterans into our program. And veterans will find us on Google and come in off the street from a housing standpoint. From our mental health, we work with Emory Healthcare. We work with the Shepherd Center. We're partnering with Operation Headstrong, which is they provide mental health services. We work with the Recovery Zone for recovery services and for substance abuse services as our partners around substance abuse. We work with Warrior Set Free because we feel that you need the full gamut of when we're talking about wellness. And so they provide a lot of our wellness, our spiritual wellness support for our veterans because we look at this holistically. And so Warrior Set Free is one of our major partners when it comes to spiritual wellness, as well as local churches in the area. When veterans say that they raise their hand and say they want that to be a part of their journey. We partner with various organizations when it comes to workforce development. What we decided to do was not create our own workforce program and say, hey, we want everyone to be culinary or get a CDL or these different things. And so we have a full gamut of partners out there where we can provide, whether it's mechanical training or CDL or cybersecurity or just restaurant management. So our workforce development allows them to pick a field and an opportunity in a company that they would like to work for. And we are able to really get them job placement or internships into various industries just because we have a variety of networks that we can plug a veteran into based off of their skill set and their desire to work. And so those are really how we go about doing it, is really through more partnerships. And our focus has been really around being really solid on the housing side of the house, be the export of the housing, and then utilizing the partner network within Atlanta to deliver quality and intentional service back to our veterans.
Speaking of Atlanta specifically here, do you work with the Atlanta Housing Authority and the VASH program? Are there specific successes, or do you think there's some program overhauls or recommendations that you're seeing from an operator's point of view?
I think there's always room for improvement. When you're dealing with, the federal government, if you want to say the bureaucracy that's there, there's nonprofits and for-profits can be a lot more innovative and creative a lot faster than our federal government can be. There takes a lot to change process and procedures on the government side. And so, being respectful to that, understanding, that yes, there's ways that each of those programs could be a whole lot more effective in how they, run their program, how they work with either landowners, but also the participants, how we can quickly identify folks in need and get them their vouchers that they need as quickly as we possibly can. When the wait list to get a HUD-VAST voucher can take months for a veteran that's looking for a HUD-VAST voucher, and the amount of vouchers that the city of Atlanta or that they have, quite frankly, is just not enough for the city. And then you have other parts of Atlanta or counties that are only utilizing half of their vouchers. So there's got to be a mechanism where these vouchers can quickly be dispersed and utilized based off of need versus based off of just saying, hey, you have X amount of vouchers because you're this county. we need to look at this a little bit differently around, hey, where's the need, and then how do we get that voucher to the person in need versus it's dedicated to a county or to a city or to the state. I find that it's a lot easier to go through the DCA, the Department of Community Affairs for Georgia, to get a HUD-VASH voucher, less red tape, and a little bit easier to move along than it is, I hate to say, with the city of Atlanta. And so we've utilized a lot more of their vouchers than actually the city of Atlanta, just due to that. But I also think that there needs to be a lot more requirements on us, the nonprofits and the landlords in this process as well. There has to be a greater accountability to providing high quality living for the participants, and nonprofits and landowners and homeowners, landlords really need to keep up with their property and really need to go above and beyond and not look at it as, hey, I receive a voucher and this person is not really paying, and look at them as truly a paying customer, and take care of their property so that they feel value in the home that they're living in. And that's, some of the things that what we are trying to do is when they move in, these places are brand new, they look good, but we're going to maintain them because we want them to feel valued in their space and in their home. And hopefully that will resonate into their community as well.
Are you seeing any developers do new builds that are specifically targeting veterans? We mentioned where you guys have built some new construction, but are you seeing any others?
Yeah, locally, Quest has been one, or what you'll see a portion of that affordable housing may be dedicated to some veteran initiatives. So they'll build maybe 120 units, and maybe 20 of those will be dedicated to a project-based HUD-VASH or voucher program for veterans. And so you definitely see that as part of their developers are using that because it's a point system, especially when you're looking at getting tax credits and how they're packaging this together. They're utilizing, that veteran piece to get point systems so that they can build. But I think if we do this correctly, I think you can do that around that. But I also think if we can figure out ways to partner with organizations like Star C, where they bring an educational component to your housing unit, and we look at this in a robust way, we're going to relieve the burden on our school system, as well as we can focus on our veterans as part of these holistic approaches to when we build affordable housing. Bringing that veteran component, bringing that education component to an affordable housing complex or unit will bring a lot of value to the community as we look at these developers when they do develop and build. And we're starting to see that. Zimmerman Properties is one that does that very well, and Quest here in Atlanta do that pretty well.
We've been talking about America's heroes deserving a second chance and restoring heroes, both of which are your organization's slogans or taglines or mission statements. What is that impact to where you see VEO headed over the next year, 5 year, 10 years? What is your goal or your vision statement?
Yeah, I would say over the next 5, 10, 20 years, our goal is I would love to see one of our program centers in every major city in America, where we're helping veterans in transitional and emergency housing, and with our own affordable housing in every major city or state in the U.S. That's, our ultimate goal is to expand this. We feel if we're, part of the solution, then we can continue to help and bring our wraparound services to veterans, help them navigate their journey to self-sufficiency, but also help them navigate their way to home ownership is, our ultimate goal, because we feel that doing that, they would be giving back to their community even more and again. We know that our veteran community is capable of doing this, and we just got to wrap our arms around them. When our veterans raised their right hand and pledged to support and defend the Constitution, they did that with a blank check. And I think we sometimes forget that as citizens, is that for every veteran, it looks different. And their check, looks different. And some of them, came out of the military unscathed, and and some of them came out with, a lot of war wounds and a lot of wounds, and each check is different, and we're here to serve whatever check was they signed and whatever is on that blank check. We're here to help them, whether it's with mental health or substance abuse, or helping them with legal services or compensation or benefits. We're here to support them wherever that journey is. And so our goal over the next 10, 20 years is to be able to take this nationwide and help our veterans be successful on their individual journey.
How can people who are listening help you make that happen?
Well, you can visit veohero.org, and at the top right-hand button, there's a donate button. And so helping us, whether you want to help us expand and build through capital, is one way to give back so that we can build more affordable housing for veterans. You can volunteer your talents and your energy to supporting our veterans, whether if you are somebody who has a background in psychiatry or mental health or substance support through AA meetings and things like that. You can volunteer on our campus and help our veterans that way. You can hire a veteran and get to understand how they think and what they bring to your organization. Begin to truly hire them. But not only when you hire them, really look at your HR policies and understand when you hire a vet, they might need a little bit more leniency around calling off because they got to get to a VA appointment. And so having an understanding of those needs is a way that you can give back not only to us, but to every VSO, veteran service organization out there, by understanding who you're hiring and how you're supporting them. Because it takes us all, whether you're a business owner or another organization out there supporting veterans, our community, to really, if we're going to say that our heroes deserve a second chance, our heroes are what represents the best of America, then, as citizens, then we need to really think about how we're giving back. And when we say thank you for your service, what does that really mean? Do you know what that service was? Do you stop and really have that conversation with that veteran to understand what they gave up? And sometimes looking at them, you don't really know what they gave up to serve this country. And so maybe, just take a moment and ask them what that service was and have that conversation with that veteran. And so I think those are all ways that you can give back, not only to VEO, but just to our veteran community to help our veterans.
That's why I think it's so impactful to have this discussion, because there's a clear gap or disconnect between the service that has occurred and homelessness. Those two things should not be coexisting. And then when you layer in the ability to purchase a home or afford rent in certain markets, it's almost like the veterans, once they serve, we should be able to hand them a home ownership grant of some type to be able to buy a home, something so basic that should be automatic just in exchange for their service. And yet we fall short that we're even discussing veteran homelessness.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you. I mean, I just don't know, and it's not to get on politicians, but I don't know how you can sit there and say, thank you for your service, and allow our VA health system to be run the way that it's run in some communities, how veterans can end up homeless. I know how they get there, but how do we support them better in that effort? We got to do a better job when a veteran gets out in the military. How do we really connect them with civilian opportunities? How do we do that better when they're leaving the military? When a service member joins and when they raise their right hand, they were given a purpose. They woke up every day with a sense of duty and purpose. And that goes away as soon as they leave the military. And so how do we prepare our veterans better and our servicemen and women better to handle that civilian life when they leave? Especially when you take an 18-year-old kid, and the way that we recruited for the military over the last, let's call it 20 or so years. I'm going to tell you honestly, we went to urban America and we went to rural America and promised these kids that they're going to be able to go around the world and get a college degree and all these different things. And a lot of these kids didn't come from great backgrounds, and that was a way out. And so, how do we prepare them when they do get out? Because they may not necessarily have the greatest of backgrounds and exposures. How do we prepare them for civilian life? We train them to be warriors and to fight an enemy, but we didn't train them to prepare them for what life after the military is going to be, life after a sense of purpose, what that's going to look like. And so we've failed them from a basic training standpoint, but also preparing them for life after the military. And it's systematic. It's happened since the beginning of the military, and so we have to really wake up to this and really put forth an effort if we truly want to end homelessness, if we truly want to address mental health, if we truly want to address substance use. We have to recruit better for the military, train better, and look at how to truly help a service member really exit the military in a way that they can rejoin a civilian life that they never ever truly experienced. Especially an 18-year-old kid who came in, they never really truly experienced what a civilian life looks like because they were told what to do, where to go, and when to do it for however long that they'd spent in the military. And that's not how life is on the civilian side. And so that's a culture shock to the system when they leave.
Tony, could you share with us a life-changing moment that you've seen when an unhoused veteran moves into their new home?
Yeah, I mean, we see this every day, just given an opportunity. One that comes to mind, I won't say the gentleman's name, but one that comes to mind was a gentleman who literally traveled from Texas to Atlanta to be in our program. And when he got there, he said, "Hey, I just don't trust anybody. I heard about you guys, and I really don't even trust you guys when we give you a shot." And he spent roughly about 6 to 9 months with us. We were able to partner with one of our local community partners here, City of Refuge. We were able to get him into the NAPA program, and he really wanted to be a mechanic and to get back into that field. And he went and got, I think, 20 different certifications, mechanic certifications while he was here. He was able to save up money and get his own housing, and was now working with MARTA as one of their mechanics on the MARTA train system, making roughly $60K a year. So somebody who didn't have anything coming in is now left with $60K. And what I find, because with this one, it was a lot of tough love. We had to tell them, what we really thought, but not every veteran is like that. And so some need a little tender touch and some needed a little kick in the butt. And he was one that needed a little kick in the butt, but he also needed to find that trust again and be able to trust people and be able to, because he had been let down so many times by either organizations or the VA or whatnot. And so, but he found that trust in us. He bought in, he leaned into his program, and left here with a house, living with another veteran, making $60K a year. And when he came in with nothing on his back on a Greyhound. And so that's one of those things that you probably can. I'm smiling through the phone on this one just because of how impactful. And we have stories like that where folks have come in here and got jobs at Apple making $120,000 a year, and they came in with zero and left with a job, or working with Crystals as a regional manager, or now managers at one of our hotels downtown. And so our veterans are capable. They just need sometimes they just need an opportunity and somebody to truly care about their journey. And once they realize that somebody's there helping them along the way, that it opens the door for them to be, successful.
Well, I hear your passion and we know what your vision is. I understand why You won the Atlanta Braves Community Heroes Award last year. Several of us listening want to now see you take this nationwide because there's clearly such a need, and you guys have program parameters to make this successful. So tell us, as we wrap up here on the last question, it's one thing to win a Community Heroes Award, but how do you now leverage that for your organization? What does that mean for you now?
The ultimate goal is really, like you said, leverage it to make an impact for our veteran community. I feel that you shouldn't get an award until you're dead because I feel like awards happen when you're done. We're still on this journey. And so no time to stop for those things, but I'm appreciative of the thought that went into that. And but we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of veterans out there that need the hope that we're wanting to provide. And so if we can leverage this into a nationwide program, if we can create thousands of affordable housing, if we can move thousands of veterans into home ownership, if we can reduce the rate of suicide that is happening on a daily basis in our veteran community, then I truly appreciate the awareness that will bring. But that's the hope when that happens, is that we bring awareness to what's happening in our society and in our community, and we hope that there's change that comes from that. And so winning that award, if that allows that to happen, then that's a success. But we're not going to sit back and celebrate too long on those things. The work is there. There's too many veterans in need. There's too many veterans each and every day contemplating suicide. There's too many veterans living out of their car in fear of domestic situations and things like that we have to address. And we got to get serious about as a nation. And I hope that people listening will go to their community leaders and to their politicians, and let's figure this out together with other VSOs so that we can address this as a nation.
I watched the video of them awarding you that Atlanta Braves Community Heroes Award, and I really felt the enthusiasm and the true appreciation. So let's package that and bolster that up for you, for your motivation as you move forward and expand this platform.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Changemakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadel.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.